Hi, this is Lara at Elliott Wave Stock Market with your daily analysis for the S&P 500 for the trading session dated Tuesday 10th of September. I'm recording this video now 6:45 in the evening New York time after New York's closed for Tuesday. The wave count remains the same. We got more upwards movement. We have a gap now which should be filled back on the way down. For now, this wave count expects more upwards movement, and I'm still expecting possibly about the 29th of October if minor wave 5 is to have a Fibonacci time relationship and last a Fibonacci 89 days or sessions. At 1739, minor wave 5 would reach 0.618, the length of minor wave 3. At 1740, intermediate wave C would reach equality in length with intermediate wave A. And I'm still expecting upwards movement, at least initially, to find resistance at the upper edge of this big maroon channel, which contains all of cycle wave B on its way up from the start at 666.76. The structure for minor wave 5, as I have it labelled here, is incomplete. We have minute 1, a deep second wave double zigzag for minute 2, and a third wave unfolding, showing an increase in upwards momentum, which is exactly what we were looking for this week. If minute 2 were to move lower, which would be extremely unlikely at this stage, but if it did, it can't move beyond the start of 1, below 1560.33. Movement below that price point would invalidate this main wave count and provide strong confirmation for the alternate. Let's have a look at this main wave count on the hourly chart with the start of minute 3 down here. Is this point down here? So far, within the third wave, we have the first wave, a completed 5-wave impulse, the second wave, a complete 0.618 correction of the first, a sharp zigzag, and the third wave is incomplete. Within minuet wave 3, we have subminuet 1, 2, in the middle of the third wave, close to completion now. Within the subminuet wave 3, we have micro 1, 2, and 3 has no Fibonacci ratio to 1. That makes it more likely that we should see a ratio for the fifth wave and either the first or third, and equality with the first is the most common relationship. That would be achieved at 1690. At 1694, subminuet wave 3 would reach 1.618, the length of subminuet wave 1. I favour the lower end of this target zone because it's calculated at a lower wave degree. When subminuet wave 3 is complete, we should expect maybe a relatively deep fourth wave correction. Subminuet wave 2 was just over 42% the length of subminuet wave 1, so it's a relatively shallow correction. It's less than 50% and it's a zigzag. Given the guideline of alternation, I'll expect the fourth wave to be choppy, overlapping sideways. It may be quite deep, maybe approaching the 0.618 Fibonacci ratio of the third wave, and it's most likely to be a flat, maybe an expanded flat, a triangle, a combination, or maybe a double zigzag. Subminuet wave 4 may not move into subminuet wave 1 price territory. Movement below 1664.83 would invalidate this wave count over the next day or so. I'd expect the fourth wave to be quite brief. I wouldn't expect it to last up to a session. It could, but it's more likely that it should be over quite quickly. When it's done, more upwards movement to complete minuet wave 3. At 1695, it will reach 1.618, the length of minuet wave 1. And when that's done, a slightly longer lasting fourth wave correction for minuet wave 4. When that's done, more upwards movement to 1720 for minute wave 3 in its entirety. That would reach 0.618, the length of minute wave 1. We will have strong confirmation of this wave count if we see a new all-time high above 1709.67. At the daily chart level, this wave count up to this point is identical to the main wave count, except for this final upwards movement. I've moved it all up 1 degree. Which means it's possible that we've had a trend change up here at cycle degree. However, we should always assume the trend remains the same until proven otherwise. We do not have confirmation of this trend change, and we won't get it while price is above 1560.33. It's a huge trend change. The new cycle wave C downwards should be very strong. It should last at least a year, if not several, and should take price substantially below 666.76. Because of the size of that trend change, we need to wait for confirmation of it, with movement below 1560.33, and after that, a clear breach of the black parallel channel that I've drawn around the zigzag of primary wave Y, which you see on the monthly chart, and I've copied it over here to the daily. For this one, from this high to this low, it does subdivide better as a 5-wave impulse. The problem now is the subdivisions of this zigzag. Let's have a look at this on the hourly chart, where the end of minute wave 1 down here is this point down here. Sorry, not a zigzag, it's a flat, because A subdivides to a 3, B subdivides to a 3, and it's over 90% the length of A. It's less than 105% the length of A though, so technically this flat would be a regular flat. They usually move price sideways and sit nicely in parallel channels. This movement is obviously not sideways, it's upwards, and it's not sitting in a parallel channel for a regular flat, so it looks very strange. So I've adjusted the wave count on this hourly alternate to fit better with the subdivisions for the main, because that's what's unfolding. We have an impulse here, a zigzag correction here, and this is a third wave unfolding, showing an increase in momentum, which is exactly what our main wave count expected for the session. The third wave is incomplete. The targets would probably be the same, although for this one it could come to quite a speedy end if this wave count's correct. Minute wave 2 may not move beyond the start of 1 above 1709.67. So we were expecting upwards movement, that's exactly what we've got. That third wave is incomplete. I expect those targets should be reached before the end of the week, at least the first one, may be reached tomorrow. After that, we've got a couple of small fourth wave corrections coming up, but they should be quite brief. Overall, this week, more upwards movement. That's all for me today with your S&P analysis, and I hope that everybody is having a fabulous day.